Subscribe our Nehra Classes YouTube channel to watch free live training sessions and to avail the membership facilities and additional perks, click the join button. Hello everyone, I Vikas Nehra welcome you all to our ongoing RHCSA version 10 training. This is session number 18 and in this session we will talk about basic Unix tools. And in this session we will cover some very important commands like find, locate and AWK. So let's start the session with the first command, that is find command. The find command is used to search for files and directories in a directory hierarchy based on various conditions like name, size, permissions, modification time, etc. The syntax of the find command is find followed by the path, followed by the options, followed by the expression. So you have to execute the find command in this sequence only. You have to follow the same syntax. After the find command, you have to mention the path of the directory where you want to operate. After that, you can define the options and then you can define the expression. How? Let me show you. Suppose I want to search whether file.txt is present or not in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user. So I'll write here find. After that, I'll mention the directory name, the complete path starting with /. After that, I'll write here the option, that is -name, because I'm looking for the file with name. And then I'll mention the name in double quotes like this, file.txt. If this file is there, it will show us the results. And this option -name we use to find the files with name, and this is case sensitive. It will exactly match the pattern that have you defined there in the command. So there is no such file currently present in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user. If you want to use the case insensitive option, so you can write here -iname. -iname is case insensitive. It will look for both the cases, upper cases as well as lower cases. But there is no such file present in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user. Okay, let's create a file here first. So I'm going to create a file with the name as file.txt in upper letter and file.txt in the small letters or the lower case. Let me show you. So we have two files, file.txt where f is in upper letter, upper cases, and file.txt where file word is in small letters. Now let me show you how can we find this file. So I will write find. I'll mention dot. Dot is used for the present working directory or the location where you are currently working. After that, I'll mention option -name. Then I will mention the file name, that is file.txt, and press enter. So it will only list the file.txt which is in the small letters or in the lower cases. If I want to include both, I can mention here option -iname. -iname is for the case insensitivity. This time it will print the result for both the files. It will show us both the files in the output. Okay, so this is how we can either use option -name or -iname to find the files by the name. Now, if you want to find the files by type, how can you do that? You can write find. After that, you can mention the location. Suppose I want to search for the files in my home directory. I can write here dot. After that, I'll mention option hyphen type, and I can write there F for the files. Similarly, for the directories, I can write there D. Similarly, for the links, I can write there L. Okay, now let me show you practically. Let's create a directory here with the name as testdir. After that, I'm going to create a file in this directory with the name as myfile.txt. After that, I'm going to create a link by running the ln command. I'm going to create the soft link there for the myfile.txt with the name as symbolic link. Now let me show you these files and directories. So there is a directory named as testdir which we created in the previous step, and there is a file under this directory with the name as myfile.txt, and we have already created a link, soft link for this file. This is the soft link of this file. Okay. Now let me show you how can we find the file by using its soft link. I'll use the find command for the home directory of the root user. Then I'll mention there hyphen type because we are looking for the file by its type. And after that, I'll mention L. L is used for the links. So this is the file. This is the symbolic link file that is actually pointing towards the myfile.txt which is there in the testdir directory. So this is how we can find the files by the type. Okay. Now, how can we find the files by the size? So we can write find. After that, we can mention the location. Then we can use option hyphen size and we can define the size. Suppose I'm looking for the files which are greater than 10 MBs in size. So I can execute this command. Similarly, for the files less than 500 KB in size, we can write there minus 500K. Similarly, if I'm looking for the files which are having the size exactly as 100 KBs, so I can write there 100K. There we will not mention any sign like negative or positive. So for the exact size, we will mention the number or the actual size. For the size less than a certain size, we can use minus before the size of the file, and for the greater size, we can write there plus before the size. Now let me show you how does it actually work. So let me create a file here of a certain size, and I'm going to use the dd command for that. We will talk about the dd command in the upcoming sessions when I will teach you the storage management. As of now, you can think, you can consider that dd command is used to create the files of a specific size. We will give the name to this file as bigfile.txt. Block size we are going to keep as 1 MB and count we are going to use as 15. Okay. So we have successfully created a file here in our home directory with the name as bigfile.txt, and the size of this file is 15 MB. Now, suppose I want to find all the files in this location of the root directory of the root user, and I'm going to search for the files which are having the size more than 10 MBs. Look at this. On the output, we are able to see bigfile.txt because it is in 15 MB size. So that's why we are able to list it on the output, because we mentioned the size as more than 10 MBs in the find command. I'll take your questions at the end. Please wait. Suppose if I'm looking for the files which are having the size as less than 500 MB, so I can write here minus 500 M. So it will list all the files which are having the size less than 500 MBs. Okay. Now, how can you find the files by time? So we can use the find command. After that, we can mention the location where we are looking for the file. Then we can use option -mtime. Mtime is used for the modified time in days. And after that, we can mention the number of days. So this command will look for the files that have been modified in last 1 day. So these are the files which have been modified in last 1 day. Similarly, if I'm looking for the files that have been modified in last 30 minutes, so for those files, we can use the find command like this. Find, after that we will mention the location. Then we will use option -mmin. Mmin we use for the time in minutes. -mtime we use for the time in days. So this time we will use the option as -mmin for the minutes. And then we can write here -30 for the last 30 minutes. So it will list all the files which have been modified in last 30 minutes. Now, let me show you practically. Let me create a file here with a timestamp of less than 1 hour. And let me mention the name for this file as mylog.txt. Why I'm using option -d here with the touch command? Because this will create a file with a modified timestamp that I mentioned here. So if I list this file, it will show up the timestamp of last 1 hour. Look at this. It is currently showing the time as 2040, which is 1 hour less. Look at this. It is currently showing the time as 8:40, while the current time is 9:40. Okay. Now, let me search the files which have been modified in last 90 minutes. So there are no such files which have been modified in last 90 minutes. Sorry, I forgot to use option hyphen there before 90. So these are the files which have been modified in last 90 minutes. And mylog.txt is also showing up there. Suppose I want to find the files which have been modified in last 20 minutes. So this time mylog.txt is not there because this file was modified last 60 minutes ago. By using touch-d, we modified the timestamp of that particular file. Okay. Now, how can you find the files by permissions? You can use the find command like this. After the find command, you can mention the exact path or the location for the file where you are looking to find the file. After that, you can use option -perm for the permissions, and you can mention the permissions like this. 644, 6 for the owner, 4 for the group, and 4 for the other users. We will talk about the permissions in the upcoming sessions, so you don't need to worry about the permissions now. So these are the files which are having the permissions as 644 in var log directory. Similarly, if you want, you can mention the permissions in alphabetical method. This is the numerical method of defining the permissions. How? Let's try to find the files in the root home directory which are having the permissions as u plus x. U plus x means execute permission for the user. Means the only owner of the file can execute it. So these are the files which are having the execute permission for the user. Okay. Now, how can you find the files by the file owner or group owner? We can execute the find command like this. Suppose I want to find the files in the root directory having the file owner as Vikas Nehra. I'm looking for the files which are having the owner of the file as Vikas Nehra. Look at this. All the files will be listed here in the output. So there are a lot of files which are owned by Vikas Nehra user. Okay. Now, suppose I want to find all the files which are having the group owner as Vikas Nehra in the /home directory. So there we will use the option -group, and after that we can mention the group name. So what we are doing in this command, we are looking for the files which are having the group owner as Vikas Nehra in /home directory. So these are the files which are having the group owner as Vikas Nehra. Now, there are certain situations where we need to operate on the result of find command. Means we need to execute some additional commands on the result of find command. So how can you find and execute the command? Okay. Suppose I want to find all the files which are having the extension as .log, and we want to remove all those files. So we can execute the find command like this. Suppose I'm looking for the files in my root home directory. So I'll write here dot. After that, I'll mention option -name. Then I'll write here *.log. *.log means all the files having the extension as .log. So this command will find all the files which are having the extension as .log in the present working directory, that is the root directory or the home directory of the root user. After that, we need to operate on this result. So we want to remove all these files which are found by the find command. So we can execute another command here by using option -exec. We need to remove these files, so we can write here rm-f is used to remove the files forcefully. Then we can close the braces. It is a placeholder for each result, and after that we can use \semicolon that ends the exec command. So this / and semicolon we use to end this exec operation. It tells system to end this exec command. So there are no such files present in the home directory of the root user. So let's try it practically. So I'm going to create few files having the extension as .log. Look at this. I just created a file here with the name as a.log, b.log, and one file with the name as c.txt. So there are two files having the extension as .log. Now, how can we remove these files? Using the find command, we will write here find dot, then we will use option -name. After that, we will write *.log here. Then we will write here -exec. And after that, we can mention the rm-f command as we mentioned earlier. So instead of running this command, let me write here echo deleting. We'll close the curly braces and we will write here \semicolon. So it will show us the result. It is currently deleting a.log and b.log. Intentionally, I did not write there rm-f because that would have removed the files, which I was not wanting to remove. I was looking just to show you whether we are able to find these files and we are able to remove them or not. So there are two methods. One method I have already shown you. How can we do it? By running the exec command along with the find command, and we can write there rm-f to remove these files. There is an alternative method as well, where we can use xargs. Xargs is more efficient as compared to exec. How? Let me show you. Let's execute the find command on the present working directory with option -name, and let me write the name as *.log. After that, we will give the output of this command to xargs. After that, we will write here rm-f. Xargs is a command that can work in the similar way like exec. The difference is you have to use it as a filter with the pipe sign. So this will remove the files which are listed by using find command. Now let's try to list these files. Now you can have a look at this. Both these files have been deleted. A.log and b.log, both the files are gone. Okay. Now, how can you find the symbolic links or the broken links? You can use the find command like this. Find, after that you can write here -x type, and after that you can mention L for the links. So this will find the broken symbolic links in your machine. Look at this. There is a broken link. Broken link means the link is there, but actual original file is not present. There is no such file with the name as missing.txt. Okay, but we created a link for this file, for the missing file. So such links are called the broken links. Now let's try to find the broken link using the find command. Find .-x type L. Look at this. So it will list the broken links. How can you find the files with regular expressions? To find the files using the regular expressions, you can write here option -regex. Suppose I'm looking for the files having the extension as .sh. So I can execute the command like this. Okay. How can you combine multiple conditions? Suppose I'm looking for the files which are having the extension as .log, but the size is more than 10 MBs. So there are two conditions. First condition is the file extension should be .log, and the second condition is its size should be more than 10 MBs. So we will execute the find command like this. Find, after that we will mention the directory name. After that we will define the option that is -type for the file. We will write there F for the file. After that we will write there -name for the name of the file, and we will write *.log because we are looking for the files having the extension as .log, and then we will define the size +10. +10 means more than 10 MBs. There are no such files present in this machine, in our home directory of the root user. So this was the example of the AND operation. AND operation means we are combining two conditions here. Means both the conditions should be true. In case if we want to perform the logical OR operation, means if either of the condition is valid, find the file. So we can execute the find command like this. We will write there find. After that we will mention the directory name. After that we will use \, and we will start brackets, and inside the brackets we will define the conditions separated by -o. -o we will use for logical OR operation. So what we are doing in this command, we are looking for the files either having the extension as .log or the extension as .txt. So this command will list the files having the extension as either .log or .txt. Look at this. Let me create a file here with the name as a.log, and let me re-execute the command. Look at this. A.log file is also showing up there in the output. Okay. Now, how can you delete old files? So you can use the find command like this. Suppose I want to clean all the files having the extension as .log and which are older than 7 days. So we can use the find command like this. After the find command, we will mention the location where we want to find the files. After that, we will mention the option -name. Then we will define the condition. *.log means we are looking for the files having the extension as .log. After that, we will mention the option -mtime. mtime means modification time in days. +7 for the 7 days, and after that we will perform the EXEC operation for the RM command. So this will clean up old log files by deleting old .log in /var/log that were last modified more than 7 days ago. If you want to delete .log files that were last modified more than 7 hours ago, not 7 days. So what will you do? Then you have to use option -mmin instead of mtime, and there you will define the time in minutes. So you have to write there 420 for 7 hours. 7 hours means 420 minutes. So for this option -mmin, you can write there 420. 7 into 60. Okay. How can you clean up empty files and directories? You can find the files by running the find command. After find command, you will mention the location, then you will mention the type, you will write there F for the files. After that, you will write the option -empty, and then you can write there -delete. So this will delete all the empty files in the home directory of the root user. Similarly, if you want to remove the empty directories, you can write there D instead of F. Okay. Next, how can you find that are not matching a pattern? Suppose I want to find the files which are not having the extension as .txt in the root home directory. So what will we do? We will write there a bang sign before -name option. So this bang sign we can use for a non-matching pattern. So this will list all the files except those which are having the extension as .txt. Okay. How can you find the executable files? You can use -executable flag there. Suppose I want to find all the executable files which are there in USR bin directory. So I can write there find, then the location, then we will mention the option -type, then we will write there F for the files, and then we will define the flag executable for the executable files. So it will list all the executable files which are there in the USR bin directory. Okay. How can you save the output of the find command in a file? It's very easy. We can use the greater than sign. So this is how we can use the find command to search for the files and directories on the basis of the name, permissions, modification time, etc. Okay, now we will talk about the locate command. The locate command is a blazing fast file security utility, file search utility. It scans a pre-built database of the file system rather than scanning directories in the real time. So what is the basic difference between find and locate? Find command searches the directories in real time, while the locate command uses a pre-built database of the file system. So that is the basic difference between the find command and the locate command. So locate command is blazingly fast for the file search utility because it uses a pre-built database. In RHCL 10, if you want to use the locate command, you have to make sure that plocate package is installed in your machine. So you can install it by running the dnf install command if it is not there. We will talk about the commands that we can use to install certain packages in the upcoming time. As of now, you can run this command dnf list all, and you can grab here plocate. So plocate is showing up there. It is already installed in our machine. So this command will list all the installed packages, or you can run this command like this as well. dnf list installed plocate. So plocate is showing up there. That means we can use this command. If it is not showing up in this command output, we need to install it first. And in order to install a package, you should have the subscription from Red Hat, or you can create the local im repository. We will talk about it in the upcoming time. So the package is already there in our machine. Now let me show you how can we use it. So the basic syntax for using this command is, you can write there locate, and you can mention the file name. It's very easy. So this command will find all the occurrences of filename.txt from the index. Let me show you. Let's create a file in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user with the name as file.txt. We just created a file there in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user having the name as file.txt. Now, let me show you whether we are able to find this file or not. Let me write there locate file.txt. So file.txt is not showing up there in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user. But file.txt is there in the root home directory. That file was created in the beginning of this session. But the recent file that we just created in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user is not showing up. Why? Because the database is not updated. For this file, the database is updated. Database is having the information about this file. But we don't have any information in the database for this file which is there in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user. So what can we do? We can update the database by running the update db command. Update db will update the database. It will refresh the indexing, and after that we can use the locate command to locate the file. Now have a look at this. This file is currently showing up there in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user in the output of locate command. So always make sure if you are looking for a file and you are running the locate command, but the locate command is not showing you the results, make sure you update the database. Always try to update the database before running the locate command. Locate command also supports case insensitivity. So you can define the option -i for case insensitivity, and after that you can mention the name of the file that you are looking for, and it will include both the cases now. Okay. How can you use the locate command to search for the files by directory path? Suppose I want to list all the files and folders under /etc/ssh. So we can run the locate command like this. This will list all the files and directories which are there in the etc/ssh directory. Similarly, we can run this command on any other location. This time it is listing the files which are there in the usr bin bash directory. Locate command can give you duplicate entries. To remove the duplicate entries, you can use the short command like this. You can limit the number of results in the output of locate command. How? You can execute the locate command with option -n, and then you can mention the number to limit the result. Look at this. It will give you only 5 lines on the output now. If I want to see 7 lines on the output, I can write there 7 after -n. This will display only the first 7 results. Okay. How can you locate the files using the file extension? Suppose I want to list all the files. I want to locate all the files having the extension as .conf. So I can write locate *.conf. This will list all the files which are having the extension as .conf, no matter what is the location in the system. Similarly, if I'm looking for the files having the extension as .sh, I can write there locate *.sh. So this will list all the files which are having the extension as .sh. How can you check the time of last database update for the locate command? It's very important. You must know when did last time the database updated. You can execute the stat command. After the stat command, you can mention /var/lib/plocate/plocate.db. This is the location of the database file. By running the stat command there, it will show you the last database update time. Okay. You can also combine locate command with grep to filter the results. Like this. We can use locate command with less for pagination. Suppose I'm looking for .log files and I want to see the results page by page. We can use the less command there with the pipe sign. How can we search inside a specific directory? Suppose I'm looking for the base RC file in the home directory of the Vikas Nehra user. So I can execute the locate command on /home/Vikas Nehra, and I can use the grep command with the pipe sign, and I can mention the file name. So this will list the file if it is there. And we can execute this command like this as well. We don't need to mention the complete path. How can you search the files only accessible to the current user? We can execute the locate command like this. By default, locate shows all the files, even ones you can't access. To see only accessible files, you can write option-a with the locate command. Here, look at this. Dev null coming in the picture. As I mentioned in the previous sessions, dev null we can use to remove the cluttering from the screen. Dev null is a file which is just like a black hole. You can send any data there. It won't come back. And 2 greater than we are using to send all the errors in this file. So it will only show you those files which are accessible to you. Sometimes what happens, you remove the file, but it still shows up in the output of the locate command. So you have to make sure that you update the database by running the update db command. And after that, you can rerun your search. Okay. Locate command is actually more than 100 times faster as compared to the find command, especially on the large file systems. Let me show you. You know that date command we use to print the current date and time in the machine, and time command we can execute to count an event, such as while zipping or unzipping a file or while executing any command. So time command we can use to calculate the time. Suppose I want to search the passwd file with the help of the locate command. I can execute locate passwd. So it will show me all the results. If I want to count the time spent in running this command, I can write there time. Look at this. So in real time, the command executed in 0.019 seconds. Now let's try to execute the find command to search for the passwd file. Now look at the difference. Find command is taking too much of the time. So this command took about 7.381 seconds. So in actual, it is more than 100 times faster as compared to the find command. Okay, now third topic, awk command. Awk is a powerful text processing tool used in Linux or Unix systems. It works field-wise, making it ideal for analyzing structured data like logs, comma separate values, system outputs. The full form of awk is named after its creators. And what are the names of the creators of the awk command? Awk command was created by Alfred Aho, Peter Weinberger, and Brian Kernighan. So A for Alfred Aho, W for Peter Weinberger, and K for Brian Kernighan. So AWK stands for Aho, Weinberger, and Kernighan. They developed it in 1970s at Bell Labs. You can go through the manual of the awk command. It is very powerful and used in programming as well. You can read the manual. It is very, very powerful. There are a lot of uses of the awk command. I'll try to cover as much as I can. You can go through the manual. You can check the options given over there, and you can check the author names there as well. Okay. What is the syntax for the awk command? We write there awk. After that, we define the pattern or action, and after that, we mention the file name on which we want to perform the operation. Okay, let's create a file having the name as data.txt. In this file, I'm going to put some data. So in this file, I'm mentioning 3 columns. First column is for the name, second column is for the age, third column is for the city. So there is a guy having the name as Tarun, age as 24, and he's from Jaipur. Similarly, Ravi is there in the second line, having the age as 30 years, and he's from Delhi. Similarly, Priya and Neha are there. So there is some data in a file, data.txt. We will use this file in order to understand the use of the awk command. We will use different methods of interpreting the data to analyze the data to get the desired results. Okay. Now, how can you print all the data which is present in a file with the help of the awk command? So write there awk. After that, in single quotes, you mention curly braces. You write there print and you mention the file name. So this will print the entire data. It prints every line, which is the default behavior of the awk command. By default, awk command behaves like this. Okay, how can you print specific columns with the help of awk command? So write there awk. After that, you mention curly braces and you write there print. After that, you write the column number and you use $sign to define the column number. So $1 means we are trying to print the first column from this file. And what is the name of the file? data.txt. So this command will print the very first column of the data.txt file, and first column is for the name. Similarly, if we want to print first and the third column, so we can write there $1 and $3, and we can separate these columns with a comma. So this will print the first column and the third column. First column is for the name, third column is for the city. Suppose we want to display both the columns separated by a pipe sign. So we can include that as well. So in the print option, we can define how we can display it. So we are separating these two columns with a pipe sign here, and we have mentioned the same in the print column. How can you skip the header? Header means the top line in the file. What is the top line in the file? Let me show you. Head-1 data.txt. So this is the header. How can you skip the header? You can execute the awk command with nr. nr is for the line number. nr should be greater than 1. Should be greater than 1 means it should print from second line onwards. So this will skip the header. It will filter the rows. It will only print those results which we have defined here against nr. If I write here nr is equal to 1, so this will include the header as well. Okay. Suppose I want to skip the header and I want to print the first column, that is the name. So we can write there nr greater than 1 and print $1. So it will skip the header and it will print the first column. How can you match a pattern? Or how can you define a condition? Suppose I want to print only that line on the output which is having the string as Delhi. So I'll execute the awk command. I know that third column we are using for the location. If the value of the third column is equal to Delhi, then it should print the entire line on the output. Now let me show you the actual file. This is the file. The third column, this one. Third column is for the location or the city. So if the value of the third column is equal to Delhi, then it should print that entire line. So this line, it is printing on the output because this Delhi string is there in the column, in the third column. Similarly, suppose I want to print those lines or those names who are having the age more than 25. So we know that second column is for the age. So if the column value is more than 25, it should print those lines. So Ravi and Priya are having the age more than 25. We can use begin and end blocks as well. Like this. Suppose for the first column, we want to add the header as user, and for the second column, we want to add the header as data. And at the end, we want to write done. So we can use begin and end blocks to print on the output. Begin we can use to add something in the beginning, and end block we can use to add something at the end of the output. We can use awk command for the calculations as well. Suppose we want to get the total age of all these candidates which are there in the data.txt file. We know that second column is there for the age. So what we are going to do, we are going to perform the addition on the second column. So that's why we are using there sum plus, and nr1, nr greater than 1 we are using as to skip the header. It should also write total age on the output. So we can write total age, and after that we are calling this sum in data.txt file. Look at this. So it is printing total age as 106. So what it is actually doing, it is performing the addition operation. 24 plus 30 plus 27 plus 25. So the result of the summation is 106. Similarly, we can perform the other operations, like we want to take the average. For the average, we can write sum plus $2, count plus plus, and we want to write their average on the output. We can write average, and we have to divide sum by the count, because what is average? Total number divided by the numbers. So this is how it is printing the average as 26.5. So we can perform the mathematical operations by using the awk command. Suppose you want to print the line numbers on the output. This is our file, original file. It is not having any line numbers there. To add the line numbers on the output, you can execute the awk command like this. You can write there awk, and in the print brackets you can write there nr, and you can write $0. $0 is for the numbers. Okay. You can use awk command with field separator, or for comma separated values, or custom delimiter files. How? Let me create a file having the extension as .csv. I'm going to create a file with the name as users.csv, and let me write there Tarun, 24, Jaipur, Ravi, 30, Delhi. So this time we are separating the values with commas, not by spaces. Earlier spaces were there. This time we are using commas. So such files we can also use in the awk command. To remove the commas and add the space, we can use awk command with option -f. Then we can mention comma in single quotes, and after that we can define the columns which we want to include on the output, and after that we can mention the file name. So what we are doing in this command, we are removing the commas from the file, and we are including the spaces in place of the commas. We can change output separator, and for that we can use OFS. How? Let me show you. Suppose instead of commas, I want to use tab spaces between the columns. So we can use option OFS, and \t we can use for the tab space. So we are replacing this comma with the tab space. Similarly, if we want to print these values separated by new line character, means each value should be printed in the new line. So we can use \n. So instead of the comma, we can use \n for the new line. We can modify the output format as well. We can set the margins. Suppose I want to set the left margin with a width of 10 and the right align number with the width of 2. So how can I do that? I can use awk command. After awk we can write printf. After that we can mention name, and this time we are defining the left string alignment with a width of 10 and the right align number with a width of 2. Look at this. Before each name or before the first column, name is getting printed there, and before the age is written over there, and the margins are as per the numbers which we have mentioned in the command. Look at this. We can filter certain data using if condition. How? Suppose I want to print all the numbers. Suppose I want to print the names which are having the age less than 28 in the data.txt file. So what we are doing? We are using the if statement here. We are defining a condition. If the value of column 2 is less than 28, it should print column 1. Column 1 is for the name. It should print the name of the person and it should print their young. Means so and so person is young if the age of the person is less than 28. Look at this. Tarun is young, Priya is young, Neha is young. Let me check the data.txt file. So all these people are having the age less than 28. Ravi is having the age more than 28. So Ravi is not there on the output. How can you save the output in a file? Very easy. You can use the redirectional operator. You can use the greater than sign. Suppose I want to print only first and second columns and I want to save them in the output.txt file. So I can use the greater than sign and I can mention the file name. So this is how we can modify the data and we can save it in a file. Okay, now some bonus practical examples for you. There are multiple. I'm going to show you a few here in this session. Remaining you can try at your own. How can you colorize the output in the awk command? You can use codes there like this. So there are certain codes. We have already talked about these codes in previous sessions. Or if you want, I can provide you all the coloring schemes and their numbers. How can you list system users from etc passwd file? So there is a file etc passwd. This file shows us the details of the local user accounts and it contains the system users as well. So the question is, how can I list the system users in etc passwd file? I can use the awk command like this. I will use awk -f and I want to include the first, third and seventh column. I want to print username, user ID and the default login shell. Look at this. How can you show users from non-metro cities? So that is a question which I want you to try at your own. Let me show you these questions. You can check the solutions as well. So these are the practical examples, bonus practical examples. Try these. These are not important, but if you want, you can try these questions. Extract top 2 oldest people. It's very easy. Loop example inside AWK. Okay. So now I would request you, please go through this document and try to perform all these operations. Try to execute all these commands which I mentioned there in this document. And please go through these bonus questions. Okay. So that's it from my side for this session of Basic Unix Tools. If you have any questions, you can ask me now.